I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Take only what I need with me. Leave behind hurtful memories. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Take only what I need with me. Leave behind hurtful memories. Once I have learned all I can, I can't keep carrying my pain with me. Every moment, every day, I'm always deciding how I want to live, who I want to be. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Whenever I get stuck in my life, I ask what I could do right now instead of why. I can't let my fears define my journey, and I gotta forgive myself for when I don't feel worthy. Every moment, every day, I'm always deciding how I want to live, who I want to be. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, how many years I'm living. All I know is I have today to enjoy the love all around me. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today. Let go of who I was before the dawn.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our honoured guest and keynote speaker, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zari bin Hamad, Secretary General Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Yang Berusaha, Encik Muhammad Zamri bin Madzin, Deputy Secretary General Tourism, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Yang Berusaha, Saudara Zulkifli Mat Said, Director General Tourism Malaysia. Yang Berhormat, Datuk State Tourism Exco. Yang Berusaha, Saudara Rohizam bin Muhammad Yusof, President of DiTTAM and all its council members. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Jeffrey Sulaiman, Organising Chairman of VTE 2021. Yang Berusaha, Professor Dr. Ahmad Zaki Abu Bakar, President of the Malaysian National Computer Confederation and our VTE 2021 webinar moderator. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Fazli Abdul Wahid, Chief Strategy Officer, the Malaysian Digital Corporation. Yang Berbahagia, Professor Datuk Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid, Vice Chancellor, University College Technology of Sarawak. Yang Berusaha, Tuan Nasaruddin bin Abdul Muttalib, Chief Executive Officer, Langkawi Development Authority, LADA. Presidents and Exco members of the various travel and tourism associations. Representatives from all the state tourism offices, all our esteemed VTE 2021 exhibitors, our generous VTE 2021 sponsors and contributors, our VTE 2021 webinar participants and visitors from Malaysia and abroad, members and representatives of the local and international media, Datuk-Datuk, Datin-Datin, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Welcome to VTE 2021 webinar organized by the Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia or DiTTAM in conjunction with our inaugural Virtual Tourism Expo 2021. I am Izandiana Muhammad Khalid and I will be your host for this afternoon. Thank you for making time to be with us today. I promise the webinar today will be worth your time. The theme of our webinar today is Tourism and Travel Technology in the post-COVID-19 era. We have gathered many experts to tackle the issue of how the travel and tourism industry will operate post the COVID-19 pandemic era. To seek the blessings of our creator for this event, can I invite Yang Bertakwa, Ustaz Afif Farhi bin Othman to lead us in the recitation of the doa. Yang Bertakwa, Ustaz Afif Farhi bin Othman, please proceed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم إنا نستحفظك ونستودعك أدياننا وإيماننا وأنفسنا وأموالنا وأهلنا وأولادنا وكل شيء أعطيتنا. اللهم اجعلنا وإياهم في كنفك وأمانك وجوارك وعياذك من كل شيطان مريد وجبار عنيد وذي عين وذي بغي وشر كل ذي شر إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم جملنا بالعافية والسلامة وحققنا بالتقوى والاستقامة وعذنا من مجيبات الندامة في الحال والمال إنك سميع الدعاء. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منكم.
Thank you, Ustaz Afif Farhi bin Osman, for the dua. Our next agenda is the welcome speech from the VTE 2021 Organizing Chairman, Datuk Jeffrey bin Sulaiman. Dato' Jeffrey Sulaiman wears many hats and has been involved in the travel and tourism industry for many years. At DiTTAM, he is the Vice President. Let us now listen to his welcoming address. Dato' Jeffrey, this session is now yours.
Thank you, Puan Izian, our Master of Ceremony, for the kind introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our honoured guest and keynote speaker yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Nozari bin Hamad, Secretary General Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture. Yang berusaha Encik Muhammad Zamri bin Mat Zain, Deputy Secretary General Tourism, Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture. Yang berusaha Saudara Zulkifli Mat Said, Director General Tourism Malaysia. Yang berusaha Saudara Rohizam bin Muhammad Yusof, President of DiTTAM and all its council member. Yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Ahmad Zaki Abu Bakar, President of the Malaysian National Computer Confederation and our VTE 2021 webinar moderator. Yang berusaha Datuk Fazli Abdul Wahid, Chief Strategy Officer, the Malaysian Digital Corporation. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid, Vice Chancellor University College Technology of Sarawak. Yang berhormat Datuk-Datuk Tourism Exco, representative from all state tourism officers, President and Exco member of the various travel and tourism association, our esteemed VTE 2021 exhibitors, our generous VTE 2021 sponsor and contributor, our VTE 2021 webinar participant and visitor from Malaysia and abroad, member and representative of the local and international media, Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Datuk Sri, Datin Sri, Datuk, Datin, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Welcome to the VTE 2021 webinar and the official opening ceremony for the launch of our inaugural Virtual Tourism Expo 2021. Thank you for making time in your busy schedule to be with us today, although virtually. We have lined up excellent program for you today as well as the following day to come. I promise you will find value in this event, especially from the esteemed keynote speaker and forum panelists. The information and learning you will gain from this event will help you in revitalizing the travel and tourism industry. For a quick introduction, your host and organizer for this event is the Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia, or short DiTTAM. DiTTAM was established early this year in April 2021. A few of us from the travel and tourism industry met with several like-minded experts and professionals in digital technology field to discuss the various issues plaguing the industry. Looking at the travel and tourism industry being badly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic and how it very far behind in the digital economy and not embraced with the Industry Revolution 4.0, we agreed to take a drastic action to revitalize the industry by focusing on digital transformation. So after several face-to-face and virtual meetings, we decided to formalize our desire forming DiTTAM. DiTTAM vision is to catalyze of digital transformation towards a smart tourism. Our mission to assist Malaysia government to bridge the digital divide and strengthen the tourism industry through digital technology innovation. With an aggressive vaccination program and strict enforcement by the Malaysian government to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, the possibility of the travel and tourism industry opening up again is very real. Many countries are also looking at the possibility of opening back their borders and lifting travel restrictions. Hence, all players in the local travel and tourism industry must be ready to receive local and later international visitors to their tourism destination. However, the high positive COVID-19 infection cases and presence of the new virus have made tourists lose faith and fear of being infected in the destination. We certainly need to boost back their confidence and inform travelers and tourists at our local tourism destination are safe. All standard operating procedure or SOP including physical distancing will be adhered to seriously. Many travel and tourism company and destination have closed after attempting to survive in the economic crisis due to the pandemic. So how do we tell our customers that we have survived, still alive and ready to open our door again to visitors? The old way is to organize tourism expo, but this is not allowed under the strict movement control order. So if work learning can be done from home, why not tourism marketing too could be done from home? Digital technology is our disposal and we have the expert in our team at DiTTAM. To realize this idea, we came out with the Virtual Tourism Expo or VTE 2021 in an effort to replicate the typical face-to-face tourism fair but through the 3D interactive digital technology innovation. In the course of these 4 days, you will understand further what is VTE 2021. So, I'll let you personally discover what is VTE 2021. On this auspicious day, we have a webinar in front of us. So, let me not take your time any further and let you enjoy the webinar. Before I go, let me thank the moderator and the speaker for sharing their thought and expertise with us on such an important topic that has relevancy to in the industry. Before I go, let me thank the moderator and the speaker for sharing their thought and expertise with us on such important topic that has relevancy to our industry. This event and upcoming virtual expo will not able to materialize if the organizing committee members have not put up in full commitment and effort. Everyone contribute their time and expertise as one big family in the hope that the travel and tourism industry will flourish and once again to be a strong contributor to the Malaysian economy. Last but not least, I would like to thank all parties, especially you, for making time and effort to be here with us today. As VTE 2021 Organizing Chair, I have a great pleasure to again welcome you to the VTE 2021 webinar. I hope you will enjoy learning from our expert. With that note, thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Jeffrey, for your welcome address. Next on our agenda is a keynote speech by our honored guest and keynote speaker, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zari bin Hamad, Secretary General, Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture. As a short introduction, let me inform you on Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zari. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zari Hamad has been appointed as the Secretary General of Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture Malaysia, MOTAC, effective on the 16th of December 2019. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira has been in the civil service since 1986. His prior appointments include the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Federal Territory Development and Klang Valley Planning Division and Economic Planning Unit, Prime Minister's Department, Ministry of Education and National Institute of Public Administration, Malaysia, Intan. He received his PhD in Economic Development and Policies from Kobe University, Japan in 2005. His PhD dissertation was an analysis of the impact of foreign direct investment on the development of the Malaysian manufacturing sector. He completed his master's in policy analysis from Saitama University, Japan in 1995, which his thesis focused on the electrical and electronic industry of Japanese foreign direct investment in Malaysian manufacturing sector. He has an honors bachelor degree in economics, analytical economics from University of Malaya, Malaysia. Looking at his impressive achievements, I am sure you will look forward to his keynote. It is now my great honor and pleasure to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Noor Zari bin Hamad, Secretary General, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, to deliver his keynote address titled Leading the Way to Revive the Malaysian Tourism and Travel Industry in the Post-COVID-19 Era. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira, the session is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berusaha Encik Muhammad Zamri bin Mak Zain, Deputy Secretary General Tourism, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Yang berusaha Encik Zulkifli Muhammad Said, Director General Tourism Malaysia. Yang berusaha Encik Rohizam Muhammad Yusof, President Digital Travel and Technology Association of Malaysia, DiTTAM. Yang bahagia Datuk Jeffrey Sulaiman, Organising Chairman, Virtual Tourism Expo, VTE 2021, Presidents of Travel Association, members of media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Alhamdulillah, syukur kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala kerana dengan izinnya dapat kita bertemu dalam webinar Virtual Tourism Expo 2021 VTE 2021 yang julung-julung kalinya dianjurkan. Terima kasih kepada Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia, DiTTAM, kerana menjemput saya ke majlis yang diadakan secara maya ini. Untuk membolehkan para peserta dari luar negara turut mengikuti webinar ini, izinkan saya untuk meneruskan ucapan saya dalam bahasa Inggeris. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to thank the organizers for organizing this webinar and also to all distinguished guests and participants. Today, I would like to share with everyone on a very pertinent issues regarding tourism industry, which is leading the way to revive the Malaysian tourism and travel industry in the post-COVID-19 era. Like in many other countries in the world, tourism is one of the major contributors to the national economy. On top of that, tourism is currently a labor-intensive economic sector, which directly contributing on the average of 6.9% of employment. This sector is a leading source of employment and job creation, providing a high volume of jobs, not only low-skill but also high-skill jobs. Recently, it has also become a knowledge-based sector in the digital economy with the advent of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. As we are all fully aware, the COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented health hazard that affected the whole world since March 2020. As governments around the world introduce important measures such as restriction on travel, business operation, and people-to-people interactions, it has caused a negative impact to the tourism industry around the world. Everyone in the travel and tourism industry ecosystem were seriously affected. The airline business suffered greatly when all flights have to be grounded. Tour buses, hotels, homestays, and tourism attractions were forced to stop accepting customers for an indefinite period. The situation was bleak for the travel and tourism operators. In the meantime, travelers and tourists were forced to give up their passion to travel and stay indoors. Their annual dream holidays with family or friends had to be postponed, if not cancelled. In addition, face-to-face meetings were discouraged, and if it could not be avoided, strict standard operating procedures (SOP) had to be enforced and the attendees were limited. Hence, international and domestic meetings, conferences, seminars, and training had to be cancelled or moved to online means. This meant there is no further need for accommodation and travel. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysian government has worked hard to combat the pandemic. The aggressive and extensive vaccination program in Malaysia under National COVID-19 Immunization Program, NIP, brought a ray of light to the travel and tourism industry. With the majority of people already vaccinated with a second dose, the probability of achieving 85% herd immunity is getting higher. MOTAC, in close consultation with industry players, has formulated the National Tourism Policy 2020-2030, and among the focus in this policy are as follows. 1. Revitalizing domestic tourism. 2. Restoring public confidence to travel again. 3. Embracing the technology. 4. Reskilling and upskilling. 5. Easing regulation. 6. Promoting sustainable tourism development. 7. Strengthening public-private partnerships. Looking beyond the pandemic, MOTAC sees the importance of a digital transformation in the Malaysian travel and tourism industry to be informed with the industry in the developed nations. Now, the travel and tourism operators need to embrace digital technology to effectively prepare to operate in the post-COVID-19 era. MOTAC welcomes such initiative that could add value to the industry. As outlined in our National Tourism Policy 2020-2030, digitalization will be one of our focus to stimulate back our tourism industry, which has been severely affected by the global COVID-19 pandemic. The crisis is indeed an opportunity to rethink the whole travel and tourism industry for the future. I believe the digital transformation will assist in the strong revival of the industry. I am looking forward to work with all of you for the better future of the industry. To all the participants of the webinar, I hope you can gain as much as you can from this platform. Keep on staying safe and adhere to SOPs of your respective country. May this pandemic be over soon. With that, I end my keynote address. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk, for sharing with us your thoughts on the topic. I am sure our audience will take to heart the message in your address. We will certainly need to work together to revitalize the travel and tourism industry in our country. Next, we will go to the forum session. Welcome to the forum session of our webinar. This session is very interactive and you can ask questions to the panelists. For those not familiar on how to ask questions in the webinar, let me explain to you on how it is done. First, please look at the top right part of your screen. You will find a button with the label Q&A. Click the Q&A button, you will be brought to the Q&A panel. You will be asked for a name, so please type a short nickname. At the bottom of the panel, you will see the sentence, "Do you want to ask a question?" and a blue button labeled Ask, ASK. If you want to ask a question, click the Ask button. You will be given a field to type your questions. After you have finished typing your question, don't forget to press the Return button. To lead the discussion in the forum, let me now first invite the moderator, Professor Dr. Ahmad Zaki Abu Bakar. Professor Zaki has been involved in information and communication technology (ICT) for more than 43 years. He was with University Technology Malaysia for 35 years and retired as a special grade A professor in 2016. His last academic position was a Vice Chancellor of Perdana University in 2021. Currently, he is the President of the Malaysian National Computer Confederation and EXCO member of the Southeast Asia Regional Confederation SEARCC since 2012. He is also an Executive Council member of DiTTAM. So, without further ado, let me pass this session to Professor Zaki to moderate the forum. Professor Zaki, the session is yours.
Thank you, Puan Izian, for the kind introduction. So, we are now in the forum session. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let me first greet our honored guests, Datuk Wira Dr. Noor Zari bin Hamad, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Encik Muhammad Zamri bin Mat Zain, the Deputy Secretary General, Tourism of MOTAC, Encik Zukri, the Director General of Tourism Malaysia, Yang Berhormat Datuk-Datuk State Tourism Exco, Saudara Rohizam, the President of DiTTAM, Datuk Jeffrey, our Organising Chairman, and of course our panelists, Datuk Fazli Abdul Wahid, the Chief Strategy Officer of the MANDAC, Professor Datuk Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid, Vice Chancellor of University College Technology of Sarawak, Tuan Nasruddin bin Abdul Talib, our CEO of LADA, President and EXCO members of the various travel and tourism association, representatives of the state tourism officers, VTE exhibitors, our VTE sponsors and contributors, our webinar participants and visitors from Malaysia and also abroad, members of the local and international media, my hardworking DiTTAM executive council members, yeah, Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Datuk Sri, Datin, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Welcome to the VTE webinar organized by the Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia or DiTTAM. This is of course in conjunction with our inaugural Virtual Tourism Expo 2021, VTE 2021. The travel and tourism industry were definitely hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic since March last year. I think all of us know about this, and we definitely know that many of our operators had to close shop, and of course the resulting effect is workers had to be laid off. Yes, the COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented health hazard that affected the whole world and not only just us. Although the daily positive cases are still high, but the majority of people are already fully vaccinated, yeah, and we look forward to the possibility of achieving high herd immunity soon. So as the lockdown and gradually lifted all over the world, more countries are reopening their borders to international travel, and we hope Malaysia will do so too soon. So the once hard-hit sector of the economy is finally ready to start its recovery. Yeah. So this is actually where we want to discuss. Yeah, because when we want to go back to the businesses, yeah, to start back operation, suddenly we found that actually the situation has changed. We are now in the new normal. Yeah, and so rightly put actually the theme of our webinar today is tourism and travel technology in the post-COVID-19 era. Yeah, we want to discuss and explore various aspects of the new normal and how the tourism and travel industry can operate in this normal. Yeah, so when we are actually in the post, which is not very long, we hope. The future is divided in, okay, so our forum will be divided into 2 sessions. The first session will be presentation by our esteemed speakers and panelists, yeah? And then we'll go into the interactive session. So during the first session, I will give actually maximum of 10 minutes for our panelists to give their views on the designated topic. And later on, we will go into the interactive session. This is actually where you as a participant can contribute, because you can post questions and give us your comments. Yeah. Okay. So Puan Izan, our MC, has mentioned to you how you can answer, how you can post questions. So please do so. Okay. With me, I have 3 eminent speakers. Yeah, who will provide us with 3 different perspectives. I have actually Mr. Zulkifli Matsaid, the Director of the Director General of Tourism Malaysia, who will give us actually a governmental tourism agency perspective of the transformation process needed by the tourism and travel industry. Our next speaker, Datuk Fazli Abdul Wahid from MDEC, will give us actually a perspective on the digital economy aspect, yeah, in relation to the travel and also tourism industry. Last but not least, Professor Datuk Khairuddin, an academician, technologist and policy influencer, will provide us with a perspective on the digital disruptive technology. All right, so we are going to go to the first session, which is actually presentation. Yeah, so let me first present to you our first panelist, who is actually Datuk Zulkifli. Yeah, soon maybe Datuk. Yeah. He's actually the Director General of Tourism Malaysia. So let me read his short CV. Okay, he gave me actually a very long CV, but for this session, we would like to hear him more. So just let me inform you that Zulkifli Matsaid became the Director General of Tourism Malaysia on 11 November 2020. Prior to that, Zulkifli led the organization as the Deputy Director General Planning from November 2018. Okay, so Zulkifli actually graduated from Westmore College in Iowa, in the USA, with a Bachelor's of Business Administration. He then joined Tourism Malaysia Administrative Division in 1988 and was then appointed as the Overseas Director in Hong Kong in 1992, then Bangkok 2000, and also in Istanbul, Turkey in 2004. He rose through the ranks with 32 years of working experience, spearheaded multiple divisions of Tourism Malaysia in administration and finance, research and industry. So if I read his CV, we would not have enough time. So without further ado, let me invite our first panelist, Zulkifli, the Director General of Tourism Malaysia, to present his views. Yeah. Okay. Zul will speak on transforming the tourism and travel industry in the new normal. So with that, Zul, the session is yours. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Yang Busa, Professor Dr. Ahmad Zaki, our moderator for the program today. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Yang Bahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nozari Hamad, our Secretary General of Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Yang Berusaha Tuan Haji Muhammad Zamri Mat Zain, Deputy Secretary General Tourism of the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Datuk Jeffrey Sulaiman, Organising Chairman of VTE 2021. Encik Rohizam, the President of DiTTAM. Distinguished panelists, the various state tourism exco participants of VTE and this seminar, members of the industry, the media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much to DiTTAM for inviting me as one of the panelists for today's for this seminar. I have several slides with me that I would like to share. Hopefully, it will perhaps give some kind of enlightenment, in particular to our industry players. Can we have the slides now? The first slides, huh? Okay. Right, the first slide. All right. Just sharing you some interesting data here. In the first quarter of this year, the UNWTO barometer report reported that COVID-19 continued to impact international tourist arrival growth in 2021. And globally, a decline of 83.3%. This is against 2020 figures. Whereas Asia Pacific suffered 93.8% and Malaysia almost 100% against 2020 figures for the first quarter. And in another UNWTO survey, which was conducted in May 2021, 60% of the respondents expect tourism to rebound in 2022, whereas 50% of respondents do not see a return of pre-pandemic level before 2024. Interestingly, our own Economic Action Council here in Malaysia predicted the same recovery in their report in July 2020. So looks like we are on course, perhaps by this UNWTO survey of 2021, where a return of pre-pandemic level will not be before 2024. Next. Some data here on Malaysia's tourism performance 2020 and 2029. Our source of data here is from the Immigration Department of Malaysia as well as the Departing Visitor Unit of Tourism Malaysia. For 2020, a total of 4.3 million tourists was recorded as opposed to 26.1 million in 2019. Excursionists, these are people that do not spend the night but rather just a few hours here in the country, was at 1.7 million compared to 8.2. Tourist receipt went down to minus 85% from 86 billion to 12 billion only. And average per capita suffered 11% decline from 3,300 ringgit per tourist to 2,928 tourists. 2020 for the 4.3 million, for those that are perhaps wondering the word tourists here, these are mainly essential travelers that has got interest here in Malaysia and having the approval to come into Malaysia during the pandemic period. Next. Okay. This is rather interesting, particularly for the industry players. Strategizing on changes in traveler behavior in times of COVID pandemic here in Malaysia. The standard of procedure the standard of procedure or SOP here, social distancing, avoiding crowded areas, sanitizing, always wearing facial masks is constantly required. Going digital. Now, this is something that the pandemic has taught everyone in the industry that the need to adapt and embrace Internet of Things. We need to go digital. The need to have online mechanism in doing business. The need to have platforms and e-commerce in doing business. Promoting through social media platforms. If you do not have this, then you are way behind. Organizing webinar, virtual engagements, having digital marketplace to promote and to sell your respective products and businesses, and using influencer of key opinion leaders in getting your product or your brand across. Redesigning, upgrading, or rebranding your product. What you have been doing conventionally, there is a need now to change. New product invention. This could be either by the government or by the industry themselves or by the state government with investors or with those that have interest to provide some kind of new product invention to the discerning travelers. Promotion and strategies, virtual promotional campaign. Even Tourism Malaysia now, because of this pandemic, we're not able to do any physical promotion. Constantly on a weekly basis, our overseas office in particular is having some kind of virtual engagement with the travel trade there, and also in partnership with the various state government here in Malaysia and also the private sector players. And there is also perhaps by upgrading or rebranding the product in terms of mass tourism versus limiting the number of packs coming into your respective areas. Reopening, packaging existing product with value-added items. Developing creative and innovative packages. This is where our industry, together with the partners in the industry, coming together to develop and create new innovative packages for the travelers during this pandemic time. Smart partnership. This could be either the government with the private sector or the private sector with the private sector themselves. I think there is a need for the people in the industry to come together. Doesn't matter whether you are a tour operator, a tour guide, a team product owner, hotelier, and so forth, to work together and create new and creative type of holiday packages for the traveler during this perhaps post-pandemic time, or when the time they are allowed to travel. Diversity of packages, tailor-made packages. We cannot be still doing the conventional type of packages. You need to see who are we targeting and what kind of packages that will be attractive to them, whether they are for the millennials, they are for the family travelers, they are for the retirees, senior citizens. It doesn't matter whether they are domestic or overseas travelers. Eco type of packages, spotting, combining with eco. So this is where creativity comes in. Diversifying the packages. So there is a need here to rebuild business models. Target market, the need to focus on fast reviving market, such as health, wellness, education, and to look also at different market segments or different type of market travelers, segment of travelers here. They could be retirees, they could be senior citizens, they could be the government servants that still has a decent type of disposable income to spend. Next. In continuation, implementing recovery plans and program in time of COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia, webinar is the way now getting in touch with everybody in the industry, whether they are in the country or overseas. As I mentioned just now, we are always conducting different types of webinar to share what is still available in the country, what is new and what is coming up. So we invite the state government and also all industry players to be together with us, especially through our overseas office, to keep informed of the travel fraternity overseas. And you can also do the same thing by conducting your own webinar, as I mentioned just now, adapting the or embracing the digitalization applications, so that you can constantly be in touch with your partners, particularly in the various overseas market, and also not forgetting getting in touch with one another in the country. The people in the north of Malaysia getting in touch with the people in the south and in the east coast, and also in Sabah and in Sarawak. Readiness to get product ready to receive tourists. So you, those that own some kind of product or tourist attraction, you need to look within what you need to make changes in your respective services and product to be ready to receive these tourists when they are allowed to come and visit. Apart from having to follow the strict SOP, you need to also get your employees ready on how to welcome these people, these visitors when they are allowed to come and do so. Upskill. This is something actually not just because of the pandemic, but even pre-pandemic, training, retraining is always important. And in this time of pandemic, capacity building and human capital development is very much important. And also having the right competent facilitator is also important to give training and also to give explanation on what is needed before opening up your respective businesses. Sustainability, a very important topic here. This morning there was a webinar, Greener Sustainability Langkawi, and I think everyone shared their respective experiences in Langkawi and businesses. Is very enlightening to see. People in the island is very concerned about sustainability, and so the whole of Malaysia, I think we need to seriously look at sustainability, so that it is not just only a mere word on paper, but also we need to walk the talk when we talk and we try to implement whatever policies on sustainability. And this is one way also to enhance visitor sophistication, as the demands and the need of the visitor when they are allowed to travel or during post-COVID time will definitely change. And we have to accept the fact that this pandemic will probably not go away, but it will become endemic to us. So we need to be working in the new norm, whether we like it or not. Next. Just to share here some smart partnership. Tourism Malaysia and private sector transforming the tourism and travel industry in the new norm. Strategizing on domestic and short-haul demand. For example, promoting family packages in comparison to group tour packages. In our two surveys last year and early this year, and we have our third survey which has just finished, which we will be sharing the outcome later on. One thing that is constant here, people currently feel safer traveling with their family compared to big groups. So definitely there will be a smaller type of group of travelers moving around, whether they are domestic or international. So there is a need, as I mentioned just now, to tailor-make different type of packages to cater to this small group of travelers when they are at the respective destination. Businesses need to explore new technologies, drive bookings and facilitate safe travel. For example, the newly formed association DiTTAM supporting government initiatives of Digital Malaysia by having this virtual tourism expo 2021. Facilitating safe travel, continue to enhance virtual development such as contactless check-in at hotels and airport, virtual tours of museum and virtual tourism experiences. It is very encouraging to note that some of our tour guides has already begun their virtual tour, conducting tours of Heritage Trail, tours of Kuala Lumpur and other parts of Malaysia to not just local but also overseas visitors. And before I end, moving forward, definitely there is a need to adapt to change here. And secondly, a complete overhaul of mindset and way of doing business is needed, and to rebuild business models. We need to innovate, we need to have new inventions, and also we need to be creative in what we want to offer to the visitors. And last but not least, tap the independent travelers that is not using the industry services. I think this is something we need to look at. The travelers that are doing their own traveling arrangement. This segment is huge. So we need to, the industry players need to tap this independent travelers segment that is not using the industry services, so that they can have various options of what kind of travel program that they can follow at the various destinations in Malaysia. So that's all I have to share in this short time that we have, and I welcome any questions, suggestions, or comment. Over to you, Professor Dr. Ahmad. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Sheikh Zul. So now we know where you have been, because you have a lot of experience and knowledge about the sector. So it's good actually. We have a good person actually in charge of that. Okay, so I just pick up actually a few things. You said the recovery from the will not be in year 2024. So now we are in 20. So that means we have still a long way before we are fully recovered, and that's also a possibility. And then when you talk about the need for recovery, for the need for recovery plan and program, whereby creativity and innovation, and when you ended, you concluded also with that, So we need to identify fast market. So these are very important elements. Okay, we're not going to pose you questions now, but because we will have the interactive sessions, where we will take up whatever has been discussed. So with that, thank you, Zulkifli, for sharing with us, your valuable experience and information. I really appreciate. And during our discussion, offline, I like the concept of what you said as revenge tourism. So we look forward to that too. Maybe we'll discuss about that during the interactive session. Okay, next I have also another eminent speaker with me. So with me it will be the next speaker, which is actually Dato' Fazli Abdul Wahid, the Chief Strategy Officer of MDEC. Let me introduce him. So Dato' Fazli Abdul Wahid is currently the Chief Strategy Officer of MDEC, the CSO of MDEC. Dato' Fazli leads the strategic planning, driving the digital economy, as well as transformation and change management across MDEC, by defining the organization corporate strategy to deliver on its vision and mission. Prior to joining MDEC, Dato' Fazli was the Partner Executive Director of the Management Consulting Practice of KPMG, Business Advisory, and Head of Government Sector for KPMG Malaysia. So basically, he has actually a consultant background. Datuk Fazli has over 30 years experience, yeah, so in this area. So we definitely will be hearing from an expert in the field. He also contributed in other fields, yeah, including helping the academic. So he is actually an adjunct professor at the DRB HiCom University. So although it's a short and so on, but there's a long list. Yeah. So without further ado, I would like to call our second panelist. Yeah. He will be talking about digital economy in the tourism sector in Malaysia. So with that, Dr. Fazli, can you on your camera and join us?
Okay. The camera is on and
okay,
the speaker is on. Can you see us?
Yes, yes, I can. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, distinguished guests, yang bahagia Datuk Wira, KSU, TKSU, as well as the DG of Tourism, distinguished guests, Cik Rohizam, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. With regards to the presentation that I'll be making today, if you don't mind, as mentioned by our Datuk Wira just now, will be presenting in English. The topic on the presentation that I'll be making today is basically on the digital economy in the tourism sector in Malaysia itself. So the keyword here is basically on digital economy itself. And if we go to the next slide, I think from the perspective of digital economy itself, in a nutshell, we can't run away from the fact that, you know, digital economy has cut through all the aspects of life. And we have seen this happening even though even heavier from the perspective since the MCO and the COVID pandemic has hit the country as a whole, as well as the whole entire world. And this had affected the way on how the people or the nation interacts. It has also basically changed the economic landscape. It had also created skills that needed to get good jobs or different types of jobs. And there had been also in terms of different ways of making decision. Now, in terms of making decision itself, as you can see, if you look from 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, digital has not been the main focus in any of the corporate decision makings. And now we see that any decision makings in terms of corporate or non-corporate or government, public sector, private sector, has always been taking into consideration on how digital can play a major role in moving forward with regards to cutting across all industries. That includes tourism as well. Malaysia as a population is about 33 million. With an internet penetration, I think it's around 91%. We have also the smart handphone users has also increased to about 22 million itself. And there is also, in terms of online banking penetration, it's about 85%. So now we can see that this numbers has increased from the perspective taking into consideration of the pandemic, as well as having all these issues, health issues coming forward. And our emerging digital economy has also the potential, with taking into consideration of the economy itself, to generate new scientific research and breakthrough. It fuels also job opportunities, different types of job opportunities, economic growth, as well as improving on how the people would live their lives. Now, what we're saying is that from the presentation that I'm going to make today is more on the perspective of the economic itself. I'll start off with from the angle of where we stand, the country stands with regards to other countries within the Asia Pacific, and I'll basically go through into how some of the reports that have been undertaken, developed by the likes of United Nations, so on and so forth, had identified digital economy being the way forward, and what are the requirements in terms of the platforms, the infrastructures, so on and so forth that is required to move forward. So next slide, please. If you can see in terms of the global perspective, before I jump into or dwell into the ASEAN market itself, this is from the digital economy from the global perspective, where you can see Malaysia is at the point of standout. This is a spectrum in terms of we are either countries that are under the stall out, or stand out or watch out or break out. For those who are not familiar with this, watch out are those countries that has been very stagnant into moving themselves from where they are and where they want to be in the future, taking digital economy, digital platforms and digital initiatives and programs as the way forward. Okay, breakout itself is basically countries that has slowly moved from where they were stagnant into digital economy. Malaysia is basically under the standout spectrum, and this is where Malaysia, it means that the countries like Malaysia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia is moving faster than any other countries itself, which I'll show you later in terms of the next slide. The stall out countries within the stall out spectrum itself are countries that has already been matured with regards to digital economy. So these are countries that are basically Western countries or full developed countries like Japan, Germany, Canada, Netherlands, United Kingdoms, US, and so on and so forth. So that we are moving towards between the washed out into where we are now stand out. And I quite confident that we will be able to be in the section where we are much more developed and will be able to be in the spectrum of stall out later on. Okay, next. So in terms of economy, as well as digital economy, based on the research that has been done, if we look from the perspective of doing the ease of doing business, the EODB itself, based on the 2019 ranking, Malaysia had already ranked number 15 in the whole world in doing business. But unfortunately, we are moving quite fast. But as per 2019 itself, the ease of doing digital business, we are ranked at a number of 37 out of 42. What does it say here? That is that some of the challenges that has been identified in moving us from where we are just now, which is stalled out, to where we want to be, is basically in terms of network coverage, the challenges of data, accessibility, interoperability, as well as the transfer. And this is where the country needs to understand the importance of how we are going to move in terms of improving the infrastructure as well as the platform to be at least at the same level with other developed countries itself. Yes, we are number 15 in terms of doing business, the ease of doing business, but these are 2019 numbers. It could have improved by then. Okay, next. So taking into perspective or the consideration of all the digital economy initiative undertaken by the government, we are not left out in terms of having developed or having planned or strategized the way forward vis-a-vis other countries within the Southeast Asia. We can see Thailand had already developed their Thailand 4.0 with the 12 National Economic and Social Development Plan, which is about 2017-2021. We have the likes of Philippines, who had developed the digital transformation strategy for 2022. The likes of Brunei and Indonesia has also taken their own initiative to develop some roadmaps or blueprints. And we as a country itself has also undertaken specific initiatives in terms of My Digital, which is the National Digital Blueprint that was announced a couple of months ago, as well as the 4IR policy, which is the National 4IR Master Plan that was also announced, I think, about a month ago. So everybody is basically accelerating in terms of digital transformation and boosting its digital economy as the way forward. So what does this mean in terms of having these countries, us, along with other countries within the Southeast Asia Pacific, in moving forward towards the digital economy? If we go to the next slide, please. If you can see itself from the ASEAN perspective itself, the potential of the digital economy is that if we look at ASEAN as a single economy, its GDP would be the 5th largest in the world. That means ASEAN's digital economy is about 7% of the GDP versus 16% of China, 27% of EU, and 35% of the US. And it has a great potential to go digital with a sizable economy as ASEAN as a whole in terms of demographic, dividends, and continuous regional integration. And hence, we have seen some initiatives, some successful projects or businesses running on digital platforms like the likes of Bukalapak in Indonesia, Gojek, Grab, Lazada, Razer, C Group, Traveloka, and so on and so forth. That have been this type of unicorns, they call it, had been receiving majority fundings, attracting about 16 billion USD of 24 billion invested in the region itself. So there is a huge potential from the economic perspective if we look into digital moving forward for the ASEAN market. And we should not be felt that we should at least try to catch up to get the most out of this initiative itself, okay, from the digital economy. So that is basically looking from the perspective of the country as a whole, where we are right now, where is the ASEAN economy moving forward, and the justification on moving forward is vast and very rewarding. Next, please. So what is the impact of the digital tourism economy? So we've gone through the nation as a whole, other countries within ASEAN, and the benefits of ASEAN digital market. And what does it have in terms of the impact of the digital tourism economy? Next, please. I'm taking this approach in the sense that we'll start off looking from the report of the World Economic Forum. This is basically the report that was developed entitled The Future of Jobs, where you can see technology, demographics, and socio-economic trends affecting business model. It has moved from where they were in the past into the likes of the 2020s. And when they drew out this plan in terms of employment skills and workforce strategy in the fourth industrial revolution itself, they have identified 3 major phases. The first phase being the impact felt already, and they have already identified the likes of mobile, internet, and cloud technology being the way forward. They have identified advancement in computing powers and big data, crowdsourcing and sharing economy, as well as peer-to-peer platforms being the way forward. And in between the years 2015 to 2017 itself, the Internet of Things, advanced manufacturing, and 3D printing would be the way forward, would be those advanced technologies that will be identified as being new technologies or unicorns. And 2018 to 2020 itself, they have been identified as advanced robotic and autonomous transportation, as well as artificial intelligence and machine learning. So when we are looking from 4RR perspective, okay, the likes of cloud, the likes of AI, artificial intelligence, the likes of robotics, so on and so forth. By 3 years' time, this type of 4RR, AI, cloud, could be the thing of the past. So they would be new and newly developed platforms or technologies that will emerge as time goes by. And it doesn't take long. It might take a lapse of about 3 to 5 years. So that is how technology is moving, and it's moving on a rapid evolution, as well as we have seen that at the end of the day, this would be the way forward. Yeah, next, please. So we've seen from the perspective of the World Economic Forum, it shows that the development of technology is rapid enough. What does it mean to the economy, the skills, the competencies that's required? Okay, we have identified gig, freelance, or sharing economy being the way forward to complement this sort of technology. Okay, in terms of sharing economy, platform economy, freelance, gig economy, crowd economy, on-demand economy, collaborative, as well as peer-to-peer. What we're trying to say here is that moving forward into the future itself, the elements of brick and mortar type of businesses might be replaced by those which are much more on a digital. We are seeing now, we are realizing and evidence that a lot of businesses are even undertaken in their own apartment, in their own homes. And this is basically taking into consideration the likes of the traditional workforce may not be the preferred workforce of the future. freelancing or gig workers would be the way forward. These are providers of services in this form of economy, which are generally referred to as freelancers or gig workers, that they're enabled by digital, not as an employee, but a self-employed, categorized as part of informal work sector itself. And these are disrupting economic sectors at the global scale, in which the role of digital technology and digitalization is transforming the business model. So no longer you may require in terms of numbers or quantity, or with regards to your workforce, it is more of taking into consideration that the digital technology itself will be able to replace or to enhance the workforce in the coming future. Next, please. So, what are the types of industries that are mainly affected in the digital economy? They would be disrupting economic sectors from the global scale itself. And this would be taking into consideration some sectors such as logistics, transportation, tourism, household and domestic, financial, and professional. And at the end of the day itself, with digital being the platform for the future itself, it will increase efficiency, it will create cost saving, it will widen the options into businesses. The quality of the business will also be differentiated, as well as there is a new form of employment. Okay, they will not be as the traditional employment type of work, and these are the impacts that can be augmented through high participation of communities to improve productivities and derive in terms of income and benefits. Government facilitation to address all the trust issues between supply and demand, as well as open policies to embrace the sharing economy model, and as well as promoting a fair level of competitive playing field vis-a-vis the traditional model of the incumbent. So this is basically looking into some of the sectors, but we are not saying that this will be cast in stone. More sectors will be enhancing or looking into digital, which will be affected by the digital economy itself. Next, please. So, in terms of sharing the economy impact to the tourism sector, we also looked at the UN WTO, which is the World Tourism Organization, which is an agency under United Nations that looks into the tourism sector. They come up with policies, worldwide policies, as well as procedures and governance on how the tourism sector worldwide has been experiencing, and they had included, this is basically, I believe it's a 2019 report. We haven't gotten the latest one, I think because of the pandemic that has been going on. And the new platform of tourism is basically is expected to grow, and it's coming into a decade in terms of they are welcome the tourists, emergence of new platform tourist services, as mentioned by the DG of tourism just now. They will need to identify new ways of providing tourism types of services, which will benefit from innovation, convenience, broader choice, and lower prices, which in turn driving greater interest of use and services. We could see the likes of Traveloka. We could see the increased number of platforms such as Traveloka, and a few more that has been increasing in terms of numbers, that has been providing this type of services, tourism services. And it's not only targeted towards niche market, it is an integrated model, which look, as you can see lately, I think about a couple of days ago, Tony Fernandez from AirAsia has also included e-hailing as part of its services that will complement the whole aviation model from door-to-door service. So despite the challenges, there are positive impacts of these new platforms, outweighing all the negative effects. And you can see from the perspective of all the data, information plays the most important role, accommodation, transportation, food, as well as tourism activities. So you might be surprised to see that information holds about the majority of the scale itself. Information in terms of data is very important, and this is where artificial intelligence will be able to analyze the pattern of spending with regards to each and every individual who goes into taking into the services of tourism, and they'll be able to identify or develop criteria which are likely to be preferred by certain sectors or even countries itself. Yeah. Okay. Next. Next, please.
Yeah.
So, what are the opportunities and challenges in PNP accommodation? We have been platform to platform, PNP. There are opportunities. There are challenges. This is based on the tourism and sharing economy from the World Bank Group. The opportunities, it covers the likes of, in terms of help to attract new markets and demographics, influence all the types of nature of visitors' purchases. It builds consumer trust. It lowers the barrier, increases all the access markets, as well as have relatively small environmental footprint. But there are also challenges in terms of taxes for that reason. Okay, may be unregistered or unregulated. It may be following tax law, may not be following tax law, may cause disturbance in residential. It may benefit only a small minority, as well as contribute to the impact of over-tourism. So the way forward that we foresee in terms of tourism, taking into consideration of digital economy, is that take into account of all the opportunities as a whole combined integrated model. And hence, with this new integrated model, these challenges may be able to be resolved at the later stage itself. So opportunities and challenges with regards to the PMP accommodation level. Okay, next.
So, do you have more slides? Because
I have about, I think just a bit more.
Okay, so because actually
I was told about 15 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, sure.
Prof. Moderator. Okay, next, please. I'll try and skip off as soon as possible. So this is basically in terms of creating ecosystem of digital tourism. We can see the inbound, as mentioned by the DG of Tourism, inbound Malaysia experience has been the way forward. It provided by the nation in community at large, and it has been capturing the independent, and it has combined the concerted effort of enriching the Malaysian tourism content. And when we go to the next page, and what does it mean in terms of the taking into account post-COVID-19? I think it has been echoed by the DG of Tourism itself, and I totally believe that in moving forward, taking into consideration of the post-COVID-19, the emerging tourism trends will take into consideration of local travels, social distancing and hygiene being the main factor, nature and rural tourism being the main destination, the preferred destination. Micro holidays and staycation will be the approach or the model moving forward, as well as is being enabled by all the digital technology that is being implemented. Yeah. So next. This will be my last one. And how do we play in the changing games to achieve the vision of a shared prosperity with regards to tourism as a whole? I think the key word here, or the takeaway, is that it has to be undertaken by all the stakeholders. It comes from the perspective of the government, the private sector, as mentioned by Datuk Wira KSU of Motec just now, government to government, government to private sector to private sector, and hence itself will be able to achieve at least the wealth creation, social well-being, and identifying all the problems and divides, as well as undertaking the new form of the nation with regards to the likes of taking new platforms such as Google and Facebook and so on and so forth. So that is basically the perspective of the digital economy with regards to the tourism sector. I'm open for further questions later on, and I would like to say thank you very much to the Prof moderator itself. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Datuk, for a very informative presentation. Actually, many of our viewers and so on actually wanted to hear you more, but of course, we have very short time. But yes, I hope you can sum up, some of the points later on when we go to the interactive session.
Will do, Prof. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. So, next, let me go to our last but not least panelists. Yeah. Which is actually Datuk Khairuddin. So can you on your video and mic, Datuk?
Yes.
Okay, so actually Prof. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid is better known as Prof. K to many of his staff, students and friends. Yeah. Okay, not to be confused with Datuk K. So Prof. Khairuddin has been actually in the industry for a very long time. So let me read his short CV. He gave me a very short CV, but it's still long. Yeah. Actually, we've been friends. Yeah. For more than 40 years. Would you believe? Because we met actually at UTM. We were in the same department and faculty at University Technology Malaysia when we were very much younger at that time. And actually, we have many things in common. Both of us studied in UTM, yeah, and also in the US and in the UK. I went to do my master's in California, and Prof. K went to Hawaii, yeah, to do his master's. That's actually where he met his love of his life, actually. DiTTAM. I did my bachelor's at Essex University in England, and Prof. K did his PhD in Essex University. We are both engineers, or more towards ICT or computer engineers, and we share actually, we sit in many national committees. Currently, I'm the president of MNCC, and Prof. K is actually the vice president. So let me read further. Yeah. Prof. Khairuddin or Prof. K is currently the Vice Chancellor of University College of Technology Sarawak, UCTS. This is actually a Sarawak State University in Cebu. So from the 1st February 2018. Before that, he was the Vice Chancellor of UNIMAS. Yeah. From 2008, yeah, but he's been there for ages, yeah. So looking at him, people think he's actually a Sarawakian, but actually he hails from Jasin, Melaka, correct, Dato'?
Yeah.
Okay, he was also the Vice Chancellor of the University Malaysia of Computer Science and Engineering in Putrajaya from April 2014 until 2018, January 2018. Actually, he chairs actually the human capital task force that noted the idea to form this boutique university. And he holds actually a PhD degree in electronic systems engineering from Essex University in UK, Masters of Science degree electrical engineering from University of Hawaii in Manoa in US, Bachelor's of electrical engineering from University of Technology Malaysia. Yeah, and where he essentially was presented with the Best Student Award at the convocation in 1982, and that's why actually he was actually invited to join UTM. He started his career at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering in Kuala Lumpur in 1982 until 1983. That's where I met him, and later on he went to join UNIMAS and stayed there. Actually, he's one of the pioneering staff of UNIMAS. And later on, he became the Vice Chancellor. As I said, I have a very long list, yeah, to describe, but I think it suffices to inform you that we have actually an academic, a long-standing academic here. He's also a technologist and also a policy influencer. Okay, without further ado, let me invite Prof. K to present his views. He's going to talk about the digital technology disrupting the tourism and travel industry. Without further ado, Dato', the floor.
Thank you, Professor. My friend. I think for the interest of time, I think I go straight to the presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, good afternoon. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the organizer for having me in this webinar. And also, I have to declare that I'm not an expert in tourism and travel industry. So, but I will talk about the digital technology that has been disruptive, not only the tourism and travel industry, but basically all industries. Yeah? So for a start, I just would like to say that I'm here to talk about disruptive technology that has been affecting the tourism and travel industry. Actually, disruptive technology is something to do with innovation, yeah, that changes the way customers make decisions and also for industries or businesses operate. Yeah. So, but most of the time, this disruptive technology are based on digital technology. So if we look at the trend of disruptive technology, actually there are a few factors that drive this disruptive technology. First is the customer-centric business model, yeah, meaning that now business industries are trying to understand how customers make decisions, okay, and try to understand the profile of the customers so that they can do proper marketing and so that they can deliver good product or services that is tailor-made or personalized to the needs of the customer. So I think tourism and travel industry is not, there's no exceptional as far as disruptive technology is concerned. So the other factor that actually have driven this disruptive technology into the tourism and travel industry is the tech-savvy travelers, especially the millennials. Okay? If you look at the current generation, they are more sophisticated, they are more knowledgeable, and they are very familiar with technologies. Therefore, I think their expectations are very different from what we experienced like 10 or 20 years ago. So I think now with the advancement of digital technology, I think businesses, industry have to look at these two factors, right? The customer-centric business model, and also looking at customers who are more technology savvy, knowledgeable, and more sensitive to the product or services that we offer. And the third factor actually recently because of the COVID-19. Right? As mentioned by previous panel speakers, we cannot run away because with COVID-19, we have to do things differently. So that's where disruptive technology also come into play. And that's where I think I would like to share with the audience as a normal person, as a traveler, as an academician, what we feel on the ground. Yeah? I think this disruptive technology has actually embraced tourism and travel industry even before COVID-19. Yeah, because pre-COVID-19. If you look at the statistics, it was estimated that 1.5 billion people have been traveling all over the world. Yeah? This is a huge number. Yeah? And the reason because it is so easy to travel with this disruptive technology available and being embraced by the industry players. Because the rise of online booking, yeah, and because of the mobile apps, yeah, the social media, and the devices, and of course connectivity. All these factors actually make it online booking is like a whole empire in itself. Yeah? And again, with regards to the customer centric, industry players are now looking at historical data, information that they can gather from social media, from interaction with the customer. Now they are putting in the marketing strategy, either conventional or digital, based on data. That's where the previous speaker about talking about AI. So these factors actually has been happening even before COVID-19 has started last year. So now, come to this era of COVID-19 era that we're experiencing today. Suddenly, last year, there was a drop in terms of, because I got this figure from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development 2021 on the COVID-19 and tourism update. It was estimated that on average, I think between 75 to 80%, or maybe nearly 90% drop in travelers or tourism in last year. So because of the stay-home policy and travel restriction, but at the same time, we experience a new kind of technology development happening all over the world, including Malaysia. That's what we call the Industrial Revolution 4.0. So with the advancement of digital technology and R 4.0, this new disruptive technology have created opportunity for tourism and travel industry players or industry to embark on this new platform, that actually a combination of various technologies. Example like the cognitive computing, big data, AI, machine learning, IoT. These are the technologies that are available today that allows the industry to analyze data, to make good business decision, and to make sure that there's systematic planning or projection for the business strategy. I think that's understandable, right? Because we are talking about digital technology, R 4.0, and as mentioned earlier, so there's so many tools, so many platforms, has been mentioned about online booking, about all these portals available for travelers to get access to bookings of airlines, hotels, tour packages, so many kind of services. But during this pandemic, what I realized is that this one I would like to relate to what is happening in Sarawak. The Ministry of Tourism and Culture Sarawak, because there is very little tourism activity during this COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, the ministry have come up with a different strategy whereby they actually provide fund to NGOs, to associations, those are related to arts, culture, or those are actually involved in preserving certain traditional elements of the people of Sarawak. For instance, they are giving grant to group of people who are doing videos for fashion, promoting local costume, producing videos for local delicacies, traditional food. They even now asking a group of people to do digitalization of heritage trail in Kuching. I think this is a good idea because while there's not much of tourism activity in the state, so the ministry actually now try to produce content, creative content, and some of them are interactive content, so that when the pandemic is over, they can easily use this content to promote tourism. So I think the moment they're actually very busy with creating or digitalization of tourism site or tourism product, and also to create content. Even some of the content has been promoted overseas through webinar, to YouTube and things like that. Yeah? And at the same time, because of beside the technology, I think at the end of the day, travelers or tourists, they like to feel they're satisfied and they are happy with the services and the product that we offer physically. So this is a good time for the industry or the government to look at how to improve the facilities. Okay? Good example like toilets, eating areas, so that when the industry is open again, then we are confident that we have world-class facilities to receive tourists or travelers again. As mentioned by, I think, the first speaker, the training part is very important. Yeah. So training not just in terms of this digital technology or disruptive technology, also training in terms of providing good services, to the travelers when they are coming back to the pandemic. Now, after looking at the pre-COVID and also during this COVID-19 period, for the post-COVID-19 era, you see, by that time, say next year, the year after next year, almost all systems are already IR 4.0 and above, meaning that everybody should be embracing using digital technology to a certain degree, of course. Yeah? And when the tourism message is open, there are a lot of issues that we have to consider. How to use digital technology to make sure travelers are confident in terms of their health and safety. Yeah? At the moment, we only looking at the country, the state, the area, and the person themselves, whether they are free of COVID-19. But I think when travelers come to our place, they will stay at a hotel. They will visit tourism spot. Yeah. But we should also guarantee the travelers that that place is safe, meaning that we should have some kind of system, digital system that can guarantee the hotel is free of COVID-19. No? Green hotel, meaning green, we have green zone, red zone, yellow zone. But we have not actually come to the level of identify that premise is actually free of COVID. So, and also of course the digital COVID certificate. There are a lot of issues, but I think at the end of the day, how this thing will be utilized or be operationalized, so that there's an easy free flow of travelers across the globe. I think before I end, I just would like to put a few issues of concern. Even though we are talking about everybody try to embrace digital technology, how to manage this technology, and how to change our way of doing business and how we treat our customers. But again, at the end of the day, we must be careful about the potential digital divide in tourism and travel industry, because not everybody can afford, not everybody have access to this technology. And the technology are sometimes too expensive. So I think that's where we have to make sure that this policy that can help to assist those are not afforded. Last but not least, of course, personal data. I think now with everything is online, IoT, and you fill a lot of form when you do your booking. So your information, your data, all being scattered all over the world. So this is another issue that we have to be careful, the personal data security. So I think with that, I just would like to thanks again for this opportunity, and I'm more than happy to answer any question from the audience. Thank you very much. I pass back to Prof. Zaki.
Thank you, Prof. K, for that interesting. Okay, although one slide, but full of information. I think that's actually a test of a true academician who can summarize.
Yeah, I was given 10 minutes, so I have to be prepared.
Sure, thank you. Anyway, actually we had we have actually a lot of questions from our viewers and so on, but I was informed by the secretariat that actually, okay, we have to proceed. So to the next session, yeah, so which means we have to cancel the interactive session. Okay, I'm suggesting actually that maybe after this, because I saw that such a lot of interest, yeah, in issues actually that we will discuss. Okay, I think at the time we will discuss actually to maybe hold another special session, maybe a kind of town hall to discuss this, yeah, because it's so important, yeah. So maybe we can do this with the ministry and also Tourism Malaysia again, yeah. So with that, actually, I will let's thank our three speakers, yeah, Cik Zul, Dr. Fazli, and also Prof K, yeah. So if it's possible, I would like to invite the three of them again to appear with us, yeah, so that all of you can have a more fruitful discussion. With that, let me pass over to Puan Izian, our Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Ahmad Zaki Abu Bakar, for moderating the forum. Thank you too to all our three panelists for their contribution to the forum. Let us all thank them by giving them a big round of applause. To all webinar participants, we will email your e-certificate of attendance by tomorrow through your email. Next, we will continue to the official opening ceremony. Yang berbahagia, datuk-datuk, datin-datin, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan semua. Selamat kembali ke webinar kita. Majlis seterusnya adalah pembukaan rasmi VTE 2021. Tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, sukacita saya menjemput Saudara Rohiza Muhammad Yusof, Presiden DiTTAM, untuk menyampaikan ucapan alu-aluannya. Dengan segala sukacita dipersilakan Saudara Rohiza.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Terima kasih Puan Izian Liana Ahmad Khalid sebagai pengacara majlis. Yang berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zari bin Hamad, Ketua Setiausaha Kementerian Pelancongan, Seni dan Budaya, selaku tetamu kehormat dan pengucap utama bagi majlis ini. Yang berusaha Encik Muhammad Zamri bin Mak Zain, Timbalan Ketua Setiausaha Pelancongan, Kementerian Pelancongan, Seni dan Budaya. Yang berusaha Encik Zulkifli Mat Said, Ketua Pengarah Tourism Malaysia. Yang berhormat Datuk-Datuk Esko-Esko Pelancongan Negeri. Yang berbahagia Datuk Jeffrey Sulaiman, Pengerusi Jabatan Kuasa Penganjur VTE 2021. Yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Ahmad Zaki Abu Bakar, Presiden Malaysia National Computer Confederation dan moderator webinar Tourism Expo 2021. Yang berbahagia Datuk Fazli bin Abdul Wahid, Chief Strategy Officer The Malaysia Digital Corporation. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Khairuddin Ahmad Abdul Hamid, Naib Chancellor University College Technology of Sarawak, Presiden dan ahli-ahli Esko Persatuan-Persatuan Pelancongan, wakil-wakil pejabat pelancongan negeri, semua pempamer VTE 2021, penaja dan penyumbang VTE 2021, peserta dan pemerhati webinar dari Malaysia dan luar negara, wakil-wakil media tempatan dan luar negara, Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Datuk Sri, Datin Sri, Datin-datin, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Salam bulan Ramadan, salam bulan kemerdekaan, minta maaf, dan salam prihatin Malaysia. Saya mengucapkan syukur kepada hadirat ilahi kerana dengan izinnya maka dapat kita berjumpa secara maya pada hari ini. Selamat datang ke Majlis Pelancaran Rasmi Virtual Tourism Expo 2021. Kami mengalu-alukan kehadiran semua ke majlis kami. Terima kasih tidak terhingga kepada Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zari bin Hamad, Ketua Setiausaha Kementerian Pelancongan, Seni dan Budaya, kerana sudi menjadi tetamu kehormat kami untuk melakukan pelancaran rasmi VTE 2021 dan memberikan ucap tamu. Terima kasih juga kepada semua pihak kerana sudi datang dan meluangkan masa yang amat sibuk untuk bersama kami di majlis yang amat bermakna ini. Seperti yang kita ketahui, industri pelancongan seperti merupakan salah satu industri yang teruk terjejas disebabkan oleh pandemik COVID-19. Ramai penggiat telah menghentikan perniagaan untuk sementara dan ramai juga menutup terus perniagaan. Justeru, ramai juga kehilangan pekerjaan. Malah industri pelancongan juga merupakan industri yang amat sensitif. Industri ini akan yang pertama kali terkesan sekiranya ada sebarang pandemik, dan industri ini juga akan terakhir dalam proses pemilihan ataupun first in, last out in the digital pandemic economic situation. Dalam ketika pandemik ini juga kita dapat melihat adaptasi digital yang meningkat. Bukan sahaja penggunaan aplikasi MySejahtera, malah dari segi pembelian, penghantaran, perbankan dan sebagainya. Teknologi boleh memberi impak yang besar kepada industri pelancongan, terutamanya di era pandemik di mana norma baru memerlukan penjarakan sosial, meminimalkan sentuhan dan sebagainya. Di dalam industri pelancongan, penggunaan teknologi telah lama diadaptasi seperti tempahan perjalanan melalui talian, tempahan hotel, tiket penerbangan, pakej pelancongan, daftar masuk dalam talian dan sebagainya. Tetapi, oleh kerana norma baru ini, kita memerlukan adaptasi digital yang lebih canggih seperti kecerdasan buatan ataupun artificial intelligence, robotik yang kini banyak digunakan sebagai pelayan, penyambut tetamu dan juga pemandu kenderaan. Dan ini akan banyak membantu dalam penjarakan sosial. Pendigitalan menggunakan alam maya juga telah merubah cara kehidupan kita. Kini, expo-expo pelancongan secara fizikal telah beralih kepada expo maya. Saya sering ditanya oleh pelbagai pihak mengapa dan bagaimana DiTTAM ditubuhkan. DiTTAM atau Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia adalah sebuah persatuan yang ditubuhkan untuk menyokong aspirasi kerajaan di dalam transformasi digital, secara amnya dan khususnya revolusi 4.0 di dalam industri pelancongan. Sekumpulan kami dari Irakan Industri Pelancongan dan Teknologi Maklumat dan Digital menyahut cabaran kerajaan untuk memertabatkan industri pelancongan melalui revolusi industri 4.0. Visi DiTTAM untuk menjadi pemangkin atau katalis untuk transformasi digital di dalam industri pelancongan. Berteraskan 3 objektif utama: digital onboarding, inovasi, modal insan digital untuk industri pelancongan. Misi utama DiTTAM adalah untuk membantu kerajaan merapatkan jurang dan memperkukuhkan industri pelancongan melalui inovasi teknologi digital. DiTTAM, walaupun sebuah persatuan yang baru ditubuhkan pada bulan April tahun ini, mengorak langkah dengan menjadi penganjur bagi webinar dan pameran maya Pelancongan Virtual Tourism Expo 2021. Pameran Pelancongan Maya ini adalah salah satu usaha DiTTAM untuk membuktikan kepada industri pelancongan yang teknologi digital boleh digunakan untuk lebih efektif untuk memajukan sektor pelancongan. Sebagai persatuan berteraskan teknologi pelancongan, DiTTAM sentiasa komited untuk menyokong suruhan kerajaan atas mempromosikan pelancongan secara digital. VTE 2021 akan memberikan suatu pengalaman baru pada semua pengunjung expo dan juga pepamer. Mereka akan teruja dengan ruang pameran maya berteknologi tinggi 3 dimensi ataupun 3D yang diadakan khas untuk menyertai pameran secara fizikal. Para pengunjung akan dapat berinteraksi secara maya dan live dengan pepamer atau exhibitor serta dapat membeli pakej-pakej menarik pelancongan secara atas talian melalui teknologi digital canggih interaktif 3D yang disediakan oleh DiTTAM. Para pengunjung boleh melawati VTE 2021 dari mana juga mereka berada di dunia, sama ada di dalam negeri ataupun di luar negara. Apa yang kita perlukan adalah sebuah peranti digital hanya untuk melawat VTE. Alhamdulillah, VTE telah berjaya menarik lebih daripada 120 organisasi untuk menyertai pameran ini. Adalah satu risiko yang tinggi kepada DiTTAM untuk menjanakan atau memulakan projek sedemikian sekarang, tetapi kita berpendapat inilah cara yang terbaik untuk kita mengadaptasikan teknologi semasa pandemik dan mempelajari perkara-perkara yang baru, dan apabila kita telah mula pelancongan bermula semula, kita telah bersedia untuk mengaluki dunia dalam pelancongan ini. Sekali lagi saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih setinggi-tingginya kepada semua pihak yang telah membantu dan menyokong usaha yang dilakukan oleh DiTTAM. Banyak pihak yang perlu saya sebut dan wajar dihargai seperti Kementerian Pelancongan Seni dan Budaya, Tourism Malaysia, Yang Berhormat Esko Pelancongan Negeri, Pejabat Pelancongan Negeri dan ramai lagi pihak yang terlibat di dalam menjayakan expo ini. Penghargaan tidak terhingga juga yang ditunjukkan kepada semua ahli jawatan kuasa penganjur DiTTAM yang betul-betul lumus serta bersengkang mata untuk memastikan semua perkara dari segi teknikal hingga ke sosial sempurna. Ingin saya maklumkan Ahli Jabatan Kuasa kita, Datuk Jeffrey Sulaiman, Encik Azizi Borhan, Puan Izian Datuk Muhammad Khalid, Profesor Zaki Abu Bakar, Encik Lokman Lawi, Encik Kamal Azais dan Encik Faizal Azizul yang telah membantu menjayakan projek ini. Terima kasih di atas semua usaha yang telah dilakukan. Terima kasih kepada Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nozari bin Ahmad, Ketua Setiausaha Kementerian Pelancongan Negeri Seni dan Budaya kerana sudi menjadi tetamu kehormat kami pada hari ini. Saya berharap tuan-tuan dan puan-puan semua dapat terus menyokong usaha dan mendoakan kejayaan kami di DiTTAM. Dalam kesempatan ini, saya mengucapkan salam hijrah tahun 1443. Kita baru saja masuk selama 17 hari dan salam tahun baru hijrah, dan kami mengharapkan industri pelancongan akan berhijrah ke ekonomi digital dengan menggunakan teknologi digital. 5 hari lagi kita akan juga menyambut Hari Kebangsaan dan Kemerdekaan Malaysia pada 31 Ogos dan Hari Malaysia pada 16 September. Saya dan semua warga DiTTAM ingin mengucapkan selamat Hari Kebangsaan dan selamat Hari Malaysia kepada semua rakyat dan penduduk Malaysia. Semoga semangat perjuangan ini memajukan Malaysia ke mercu kejayaan. Sekian, terima kasih dan wassalam. Puan Izian, pengacara majlis, saya kembalikan kepada Puan Izian. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Saudara Rohizam di atas ucapan kata-kata aluannya sebentar tadi. Sekarang sudah sampai masa yang dinanti-nantikan untuk kita sama-sama mendengar amanat perasmi majlis kita. Dengan segala hormatnya, sukacita saya sekali lagi menjemput Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Norzari bin Hamad, Ketua Setiausaha Kementerian Pelancongan Seni dan Budaya Malaysia MOTAC, untuk memberikan ucapan perasmiannya dan selepas ini melancarkan pembukaan rasmi Virtual Tourism Expo 2021. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Norzari bin Hamad, dengan segala hormatnya dipersilakan.
Terima kasih pengerusi majlis. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang Berusaha Encik Zamri bin Mak Zain, Timbalan Ketua Setiausaha Pelancongan MOTAC. Yang Berusaha Encik Zulkifli Muhammad Said, Ketua Pengarah Tourism Malaysia. Yang Berusaha Encik Rohizam Muhammad Yusof, Presiden Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia, DiTTAM. Yang Bahagia Datuk Jeffrey Sulaiman, Pengerusi Penganjur Virtual Tourism Expo VTE 2021, Presiden Persatuan Pelancongan di Malaysia, rakan-rakan media, Tan Sri, Datuk-Datuk, Datin-Datin, Tuan-Tuan dan Puan-Puan sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang. Alhamdulillah, syukur kita kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kerana dengan izinnya dapat kita bertemu dalam majlis pelancaran pameran maya Virtual Tourism Expo 2021 VTE 2021 yang julung-julung kali dianjurkan. Terima kasih kepada Saudara Rohizam dan Datuk Jeffrey dari Digital Travel Technology Association of Malaysia atau DiTTAM kerana menjemput saya ke majlis yang dianjurkan secara maya ini. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, kita semua sedia maklum bahawa penularan wabak COVID-19 ternyata memberi tamparan hebat kepada sektor pelancongan negara. Pandemik yang berlaku di seluruh dunia ini telah menjejaskan hampir keseluruhan aktiviti ekonomi yang berkaitan dengan rantaian industri pelancongan seperti penginapan, pengangkutan, membeli belah, makanan dan minuman serta penganjuran acara-acara yang terpaksa berhadapan dengan saat-saat yang paling menyulitkan. Mengikut statistik yang dikeluarkan oleh Jabatan Perangkaan Malaysia, jumlah anggaran kerugian perbelanjaan pelancongan adalah sebanyak ringgit Malaysia 125 bilion pada tahun 2020, satu angka yang cukup besar dengan impak negatif merentasi semua penggiat industri, majikan dan pekerja industri pelancongan baik yang berskala kecil maupun yang besar. Cabaran-cabaran yang dihadapi sektor pelancongan termasuklah penutupan operasi sama ada hotel, agensi pelancongan maupun homestay serta aktiviti pelancongan yang terpaksa ditangguhkan ketika ini. Dalam kita berhadapan dengan pandemik ini dan terpaksa menempuh pelbagai cabaran, MOTAC sentiasa berusaha mencari solusi untuk membantu sektor pelancongan negara dengan pelbagai inisiatif sebagaimana yang telah diumumkan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri menerusi pakej rancangan ekonomi negara, prihatin, penjana, permai, pemerkasa, pemerkasa plus dan yang terbaru, Pelan Pemulihan Negara. MOTAC sentiasa bekerjasama dengan pelbagai jabatan dan agensi di peringkat persekutuan dan negeri supaya program vaksinasi dapat dipergiatkan, terutama yang melibatkan pulau-pulau peranginan utama negara seperti Pangkur, Redang, Tioman dan Perhentian. Keseluruhan pulau-pulau tersebut dijangka dapat mencapai tahap imuniti kelompok pada akhir bulan Ogos ini. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, lazimnya penganjuran pameran atau expo pelancongan bagi tujuan promosi dibuat secara fizikal, di mana syarikat pelancongan akan mempamerkan produk setauran mereka di booth pameran dan pengunjung akan hadir untuk mendapatkan maklumat lanjut di lokasi yang ditetapkan. Walau bagaimanapun, dalam keadaan pandemik yang masih melanda seluruh negara, maka kaedah konvensional ini tidak lagi sesuai untuk dilaksanakan dalam tempoh masa yang terdekat. Tambahan pula dalam Pelan Pemulihan Negara bagi tempoh fasa 1, 2 dan 3, sebarang bentuk aktiviti atau majlis secara fizikal yang melibatkan kehadiran orang ramai adalah tidak dibenarkan sehinggalah negara mencapai fasa 4 kelak. Pada ketika itu, semua sektor dan aktiviti secara fizikal adalah dibenarkan dengan mengikuti SOP yang ditetapkan. Oleh yang demikian, alternatif pada Expo Pelancongan secara maya 3D Virtual Tourism Expo 2021 yang dianjurkan oleh DiTTAM ini adalah tepat pada masanya. Saya sudah melihat sendiri preview pameran secara maya ini. Dengan menggunakan teknologi digital 3D, para penggiat pelancongan dapat mempamerkan destinasi dan pakej pelancongan mereka secara maya. Mereka juga mampu berinteraksi secara langsung dengan para pempamer di booth pameran. Seterusnya, proses tempahan dan pembayaran pakej yang dipilih juga boleh dibuat melalui kaedah perbankan dalam talian. Satu lagi keistimewaan pameran saya maya ini adalah penyediaan booth dan dewan pameran dibuat secara grafik digital. Para pempamer tidak perlu berada secara fizikal dan sekaligus dapat menjimatkan kos penyertaan. Selain itu, pengunjung dari luar negara juga dapat menyertai expo ini dan boleh membuat tempahan awal sementara menunggu perjalanan antarabangsa dibenarkan kelak. Walaupun penganjuran expo pelancongan saya maya ini pernah diadakan sebelum ini, namun teknologi yang digunakan pada masa itu masih di tahap 2D berbanding konsep yang diperkenalkan pada penganjuran kali ini yang menggunakan kaedah 3D. Oleh yang demikian, usaha DiTTAM membawa inovasi seperti ini dalam industri pelancongan adalah sesuatu yang amat dialu-alukan. Saya difahamkan bahawa VTE 2021 mempunyai penyertaan lebih daripada 100 syarikat yang dibahagikan dalam 12 dewan pameran secara maya. Tahniah, satu kejayaan yang sangat baik bagi sebuah persatuan yang baru diwujudkan. Para hadirin sekalian, expo secara maya yang dianjurkan ini sebenarnya telah memperlihatkan bahawa setiap pemain industri perlu bersedia bagi menerokai pendekatan baru dalam pelaksanaan ekonomi digital sejajar dengan revolusi industri 4.0. Teknologi digital sebegini perlu diadaptasi oleh keseluruhan pemain yang terlibat dalam industri pelancongan, terutamanya ketika berhadapan dengan situasi seperti pandemik COVID-19 ini. Dalam kesempatan ini juga, saya ingin mengucapkan tahniah kepada DiTTAM kerana berjaya membawa suatu pendekatan baru ke dalam industri pelancongan negara. Saya juga ingin mengucapkan tahniah kepada para pempamer VTE 2021 kerana berjaya mengambil bahagian dalam program yang dianjurkan pada kali ini. Usaha tuan-tuan dan puan-puan pasti akan membuahkan hasil untuk menarik pengunjung datang ke Malaysia apabila situasi kembali pulih dan sektor pelancongan dibuka kelak. Melihat kepada pendekatan yang digunakan ini, saya ingin menyarankan agar DiTTAM dapat mempertimbangkan untuk menjadikan expo secara maya ini sebagai acara tahunan. InsyaAllah, MOTAC akan memberikan sokongan kepada usaha murni ini. tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, dengan kalimah yang mulia, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, saya dengan sukacitanya melancarkan secara rasmi Virtual Tourism Expo 2021. Saya doakan agar Expo secara maya ini mencapai matlamatnya bagi merancangkan kembali aktiviti pelancongan negara. Sekian, terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Yang Berbahagia Datuk Wira Dr. Nur Zairi bin Hamad, Ketua Setiausaha MOTAC, di atas kesudian memberikan ucapan dan melancarkan perbukaan rasmi VTE 2021. Dengan perasmian tersebut, maka VTE 2021 sudah dibuka secara rasminya. Dengan itu, maka majlis kita sudah sampai ke penghujungnya. Saya bagi pihak Jawatan Kuasa Penganjur VTE 2021 dari DiTTAM ingin mengucapkan setinggi penghargaan kepada semua pihak kerana menghadiri majlis kami dari awal sehingga ke akhir. Dengan ini kami ingin memberitahu, kami akan membuka Dewan Pameran sebentar lagi untuk tatapan anda. Anda dibenarkan untuk pergi ke Dewan Pameran dan untuk meninjau-ninjau booth yang terdapat di Dewan Pameran kami. Tetapi berbelanja tidak dibenarkan pada hari ini. Boleh belanja pada esok hari. Sukacita saya maklumkan bahawa pameran pelancongan maya VTE 2021 akan terus berlangsung dari 27 sehingga 29 Ogos 2021 dari pukul 10 pagi hingga 10 malam. Sila kunjungi pelbagai pempamer dari kalangan industri pelancongan di booth di Dewan Pameran Maya DiTTAM. Jangan lupa, selain tawaran pakej yang menarik, terdapat cabutan bertuah dan hadiah lumayan untuk dimenangi. Dalam kesempatan ini, sukacita saya memohon maaf di atas sebarang kesilapan dan kekurangan ketika saya menghostkan majlis ini. Saya juga memohon maaf di atas sebarang kelemahan teknikal ketika majlis ini berlangsung. Sehingga kita berjumpa lagi dalam majlis dan webinar yang lain. Kepada semua pihak media, anda boleh masuk ke pautan yang disediakan di chat room untuk sidang media selepas ini. Saya mengucapkan salam Ma'al Hijrah tahun 1443, selamat Hari Kebangsaan 31 Ogos 2021 dan selamat Hari Malaysia 16 September 2021. Mari kita sama-sama kibarkan jalur gebilang. Sekian, terima kasih dan wassalam. Tan Sri, Datuk Sri, Datuk-Datuk, Datin-Datin, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program for today. Let me, on behalf of DiTTAM, thank you for your participations. I hope to see you again in the next event and webinar. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you. For the media representatives, we have arranged a media conference in another virtual room. You can find the link in the chat room of the Q&A or the chat room, the public chat room. You are cordially invited to attend the conference. All our VIP guests, DiTTAM President, VTE 2021 Organizing Chairman, Panelists, and Executive Council members are invited to attend. Thank you. Bye-bye.